Welcome to Sewing Out Loud, the official podcast of ZD Sewing Studio. Here are your hosts, ZD and Mallory.
Sewing Out Loud. Hello and welcome to the podcast. I'm Mallory Donahue.
And I'm ZD Donahue.
We were, brainstorming podcast topics, and ZD's over there, organizing needles, and I'm getting presser feet out and putting them away and stuff. And I was like, we could do, one on organization of presser feet needles. But we came up with another topic, too. So we're going to do that other one today. So
this one first.
I'm sure you're waiting with bated breath for our needle and presser foot organization podcast.
Right.
But you will just have to wait. Okay? All right. So today we're talking about buying fabric online. Right?
I believe so.
That's what I think we're talking about today.
It's something I just did recently. That's why I thought about it.
Yeah.
So we're in a position where we sometimes just get sent fabric.
Yes.
to try out or promote or see if. But we also still sew enough of our own projects or whatever that we have to look for sources sometimes.
Oh, absolutely.
And we're not in a big town. Like when we had a store here, our demographics were that we serviced about 100 to 175,000 people. So that wasn't on our town. Our town is about 100,000. We're a college town.
Right.
And so we're not a big metropolis. We are about 100
fabric desert.
Right, and we're about 130 miles from St. Louis and 130 miles from Kansas City. And they used to have great sources, and those have dwindled.
Yeah.
Now,
Great
if you want a quilt,
if you want a quilt, man,
come here.
Yep.
Or go to Hamilton, Missouri.
There you go.
Where that's Missouri Star.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a town of fabric.
Quilt Town, USA.
But we sew garments.
Right.
Not that we haven't made a garment out of quilting fabric, but generally that's not what we have to search for.
Sure. So, I guess we're saying
or
that
forage for, or whatever.
We're pretty practiced at buying fabric online since
we've
one
had
of our
to,
only
right?
options.
I mean, and even when we had our brick and mortar store, we would carry fabric only for projects we were in the middle of, And, people complain about this.
Mm-hmm.
There's no fabric stores. Okay, it's because people don't buy fabric. And when a retailer has to buy fabric, they have to buy fabric in what they call a 15 or a minimum of a 15 or a 30-yard put-up. And a put-up means that's what comes on the bolt that you have to buy.
Right.
So I have to have maybe 10 customers for that one bolt of fabric.
Yeah, and when you say people don't buy fabric, I think people often think they can get a better deal online, which is
Sometimes,
can be true. And so I get it. But yeah, if you have an independent fabric store near you,
support it.
And you like them, they are counting on your dollars.
Support it.
They are counting on your dollars. And I understand if
I would even go in if I found it a comparable to something online. I would show it to them and say, "Can you, is there any way you can meet me on this price?"
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they'll come part way or so. I mean, I'm sure they want to sell you fabric.
So, or else they're just not going to be there. And sewing, fabric is something that people, love to feel and everything. But yeah, the whole shipping and inventorying and, having space for it, it's all quite costly.
When I was growing up, when I was learning to sew, okay, there was fabric in pennies.
Mm-hmm.
There was fabric in the dime stores, as we called them, which was like Kresge's or whatever. There were, Famous and Bar was like our May Company store, like a Macy's or something.
Right.
There was a fabric section.
section.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's where we bought our cheerleading wool to make our cheerleading skirts. Was at Famous Bar.
Right.
Wool
cheerleading outfits.
That's what they were.
Yep.
That's what you had. That was you had to make a wool pleated skirt for yourself. Couldn't just order it up like you can now.
Right.
So and it was a bizarre color. We were orange and black, so it wasn't like you can go out and buy like this bright orange skirt. So anyway, and you had to, match everybody's. And then
Right.
if a girl was left over from the year before, you tried to let her use hers again, so you matched her skirt. But anyway, so people don't sew garments like they used to.
Sure.
And we've talked about this in other podcasts. And why? Because garments have become less expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have a more disposable
attitude.
Well, yeah.
Toward them.
You used to buy a wool suit and wear it for 10 years.
Absolutely. So when you buy fabric online, this is where it's really nice to have a good fabric vocabulary. And the reason we have a good fabric vocabulary is because we do have a lot of fabric and we've had the opportunity to touch and feel a lot of fabric in person. Right? So when you do buy fabric online, finding a reputable fabric source, I think is a good start. And with you're on the internet looking for fabric, I think it's a great idea for you to use things like Facebook groups or, online communities to ask about.
Have you bought here?
Yeah, have you bought here, or where can I get this? This happens a lot of times in our group, and I think it's great because someone will say, where can I get stretch denim? Where can I get, this kind of spandex or da-da-da-da-da or whatever. So that's really nice. And, a fabric store that sponsors us a lot is LA Finch Fabrics.
Yes.
And so, what are these online fabric stores? How are they run? What are they doing?
Well, and some of them are specialty.
Yeah.
And some of them aren't. Some of them, have the whole entire, cosmos of fabric.
Yes. So LA Finch is one of those more independent ones, meaning that it's owned by one person. She's got a few employees, but
she has a couple sources she uses.
Yeah, but this is very, it's likely like she's cut some of your fabric for you.
Right. Yeah, the person who owns it's actually at the table cutting the fabric and putting it in a box.
Yes. In other fabric stores, like you can order from Joann's online. You
right.
can order from, places like Spandex House and whatnot. And those are bigger operations.
Right.
I mean, there's
and if you have something like a Joann's, or I'm trying to think, even a Hobby Lobby. What are like.
Hobby Lobby would not do online fabric, I don't believe.
Right, maybe not. I've never ordered from them, so maybe they don't.
Yeah.
But Joann, I'm trying to think of another like brick and mortar chain that would have fabric online too.
Ha!
Yeah, Joann's bought them all. Joann's bought them all.
Or they closed.
Right. So, but what happens? Okay, so we're in a market where we don't have what they call A stores. A stores is a store from a chain that is the biggest store possible with all of their product, and they're like their lead stores, and they're in their big metropolises, right? They're big, areas of.
You've gotten to use the word metropolis a lot.
Yeah,
this podcast.
me and Clark Kent.
Yeah.
So anyway, our Joann's is probably a C store.
Right.
Maybe I would say. I don't even think it's
David's
a B store. I think it was a C store,
yeah,
David's Bridal. So I can go into Joann's and I can see this spandex, right? But they won't have it in all the colors I want.
Yeah.
They only have it in 4 colors, but actually I can go online and they might have it in 12 colors. So that's one way to buy online.
So that's a great point, because if you can go in, you can feel the substrate.
Right.
Which is your big thing with garment sewing fabrics.
Right. You want to know how it feels, how it drapes.
With quilting fabric, you're really going by pattern and color a lot.
Right. You pretty much know quilting fabric is, it's not all the same quality. That's for sure.
But if you have a brand,
if you have a brand, it's a cotton, fabric.
Cotton
quilting fabric.
Yep, exactly. Right. So that is another way that you can sort of sample the feel and the drape and everything.
So that's sort of like your first line of trying to feel it.
Yeah. The other thing that you can do is you could order swatches.
Right.
From online fabric
From
stores.
Almost anyone.
A lot of the time, they will let you do that, and that's really nice. Or, here's the other thing. Depending on your project, order a yard.
Yeah.
Okay. Would it kill you to have it in your stash?
Right.
Do you really need to know what a large piece of this fabric will look and feel like?
If it's something you're in love with, too, for instance, LA Finch.
Right.
She buys designer ends. This is what I would call them.
That's some of her business. She does other things.
She does have some stock fabric.
Yes.
But she buys a lot of, and so if you see a piece and you think you like it, you got to buy it.
Right.
It could be gone next. She might only have 20 yards. Think about she bought 20 yards and she's selling to the world.
Right.
She's not selling to a small market. She's selling to
Right.
the universe.
So she does, yeah, she has some stuff that she restocks, but some of it's designer ends, so that's important to know. So you can order swatches, but I guess, you know, if you are ordering from a big place like Joann's or from like Spandex House or Spandex World or, you know, whatever.
What's the one in Chicago?
Vogue.
Vogue.
You know, like we did for my ballroom costume that one time. You know, we looked at the prices, we looked at our time,
Right.
and we just ordered like 2 yards of
Right.
each of these fabrics, and we said, well, we're going to
You
use
also
some of
didn't
them.
need a lot of fabric.
You know, right. We didn't need a lot of fabric because it was a real
Skimpy.
brief costume, right? So look at that. You know, maybe you just want to buy a couple of yards of each.
If you don't mind
or-
hoarding fabric like
Yes,
we do.
Exactly.
Right,
We still
right.
got that other stuff. We're going to use
Well, or something like Spandex House.
Mhm.
You see 3 black spandex and you're not,
Yeah.
you know, maybe, do you use a lot of spandex? I don't know. I'm like the spandex queen.
it. Mm-hmm.
And I might order 2 yards of each because I'll use it.
Yeah, you're not.
I
worried
know
about that.
I'll use it.
And that's a really good point. You know, when you might meet some kind of shipping minimum that
Right.
way, or, you know, just beef up your stash a
Right.
little bit. I always try to keep that in mind with my fabric recommendations.
Right.
I will say something like, this is a great, like, you know, people will stock up on thread colors. And
Right.
think of those as neutrals. Fabric, it's not only colors that can be neutrals, but characteristics. Like,
Right.
oh, I know that I could use this black DBP.
I maybe like stripes.
Yeah, or stripes. But I know I could use this black
Right.
DBP as fabric bands on a ton of
Right,
stuff.
right,
You know, or we've got that black lycra that keeps, you know, serving us well
right.
as
Absolutely.
black lycra,
Right.
you know, to put our
Well,
accent colors on.
And the other thing about samples is you used to be able to get all samples free. Like
Yeah.
you could, you know, when online fabric shopping started, basically you could say, I want 20, you know, I want a swatch of these 20 fabrics, and they would send them to you. Now usually there is some sort of parameter.
Right.
Okay. I just ordered from Spandex House,
Mhm.
and
What'd you have to do?
your first 8 samples are free,
Oh.
which was great.
Yeah.
And I was ordering specifically for someone else.
Uh-huh.
So here's what I did. I could only find 5 samples that I thought were appropriate to him.
Right.
Okay. So I ordered those 5, and then I looked for 3 others I thought I might like,
Mm-hmm.
and went ahead and got 3 other
3
samples.
others, yeah.
Right. So that I knew, you know, and one came back and I was like, I really like the weight of this and everything. I might just order myself some of this. I'll use this eggplant, I know,
Right.
you know, in the future or whatever.
So you find a reputable store by, you know, polling your communities or something like that. You were going to be able to order swatches.
There's also chat, online chat available with some of these bigger stores.
Sure, you can talk directly to these
Right.
fabric companies.
So you're looking online and you go, well, that says it's, you know, purple, and here it looks fuchsia.
yeah.
What color is it on my screen? You know, you can do live chat, and a service representative will try and, you know, help you with that, or the weight, or whatever.
So you've got that, you know, with some of the bigger places having
Right.
those online chats. And then, you know, Josie and her group for LA Finch, she's answering questions in the Facebook group.
I was going to
right?
say Facebook, and I don't. Does she have an email too? I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah, of course.
So you know, most of them, you're going to get an answer within 24 hours or less.
Right. And so I want to take a break, and I want to come back and talk about some of the interesting new business models that have popped up in online fabric shopping.
Good idea, Mal.
Hey, Mom.
Yeah.
You can feel free to compliment me
Oh no.
On-
what?
on this.
What?
My feel free to compliment me enamel lapel pin.
Oh, Mallory. Every time that you hear something wrong, are you going to make a lapel pin about it?
Maybe. Do you want one?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well,
Isn't it teal?
yes, it's teal and pink, and you can get one by going to sewhere.com/, compliment.
Just so you know, I'm not putting it on my lapel. It's going on my hat.
Oh, it's going on your hat. It could be a hat pin too. Okay. All right. So if you want to get in on the feel free to compliment me in on the club, go to sohere.com/compliment and order our very first sohere.com lapel pin. Sewing out loud. Okay. Custom printed fabric is all the rage now. And I'm let's talk about places like Spoon Flower real quick, but that's not what I'm speaking about right off the top of my head here. Spoon Flower is a service where you can upload your fabric designs and you can get some of it printed onto a substrate. Now, and they will send you a swatch book of all of their substrates.
Right.
I think it's like $5 or something. So they send you some of like the cotton and the denim and the cotton sateen and the velvet and the chiffon and the whatever else they
and
have.
the stretches,
now.
and the knits.
Piqué knit, yeah. So they used to just have like cotton, and they've gone into these.
They have different substrates this way.
Yes.
When we say substrate,
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe we should
That's
explain
great.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, it is the fabric. It has nothing to do with the color. It has to do with the fiber content. It has to do with the weave.
Yeah.
It has to do with the stretch or the non-stretch, how it's woven. So it is the basic product. It has nothing to do with anything else.
Right.
So you pick a substrate. So I would pick for my leggings,
They have like a performance knit.
a performance knit with, polyester spandex, certain percentage, and I wanted a 70%. So I would pick that a certain weight, and I would say I want it printed. I want my design printed on this.
Yes, so this is digital printing. Okay, so it's not screen printing. So they actually run fabric through a printer.
A
big
huge
old
ass printer.
fabric printer. Now, apparently this is in some ways like more eco-friendly. There's like less waste and things like that, so that's cool. And of course you can get, you can print something original on the fabric, something funny, something,
nasty,
racy, fun, on there. So
some of them do photographs.
Oh yeah, well you can put, whatever you can upload.
You can take a picture of your dog.
And Spoonflower does a thing where you can put your designs up for other people to buy.
Yes.
And then you can get like royalties off of
Right.
that.
They give you some percentage or something.
Yeah. So that's kind of their, their business model. Which
they might not want your dog, but something else maybe.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe you have a good looking dog.
Well, and they can be private or they can be public.
Right.
You can do that. So that's really neat. But then there are companies or there are Facebook groups, and I was lurking in a lot of these for a while, like last summer.
It was this last summer this time, I think.
Like,
you were real interested in how it worked.
I was trying to figure out how to get our fabric printed.
We had some fabric printed.
Yeah, we had our fabric panels printed. So there are these Facebook groups where people will design textile patterns. They will design something.
Right.
And then they will take pre-orders and they will get up to it, they'll get to their minimum or they'll leave their pre-order.
Because they want to sell like 50 yards or 100 yards or whatever.
Yeah, and they have to get that to get the factory to do it, right? And so they will take these pre-orders and then they will send that stuff to the fabric printer. It's in China, generally is where they're getting these things printed. And then
it's the only place there's enough room.
Well, you can't when you get fabric from Spoonflower, you can't resell that at a profit generally.
No.
Right?
No, it's pretty expensive.
It's like $30 a yard.
Well, they don't make you do 100 yards, right?
No.
You can do
But even when you're getting 100 yards from a factory in China, you have to sell it at about $30 to cover your costs, right? And shipping, of course, is expensive. So anyway, they take these pre-orders and then they get this stuff printed and then they will fill the orders. And I was just sort of
She was so mesmerized by that whole whole thing.
Here's I don't know any of these people personally, but I saw some like customer service explosions happening because the fabric took a long time.
Right.
But a lot of these people were very upfront. They were like, you pre-order and it takes 12 weeks.
Yeah.
They're
right.
like, hello, And so like they would, they have customers who didn't understand this, I guess, or something would happen. And also, sometimes people would complain about the quality of the digital printing.
Right.
Would be an issue. And so that's interesting. There is a company that prints some of their fabric here in the U.S. Raspberry Creek does.
Okay.
And there are some of these companies... not Raspberry Creek, there's another one, and they will print like your fabric for you.
Uh-huh.
But I tried to get in touch with them, and they like didn't get back with me, and I figured out the China thing, on my own.
Yeah.
It's not terribly difficult if you're gonna put the time into that. So anyway, that is all just so fascinating. And then sometimes I see fabrics that are made with like licensed materials that I don't know how this works.
I don't know what's going on there.
I'm not
I'm not either, and I'm not.
Well,
Yeah.
hold on. We're not like criticizing anyone. Don't send the people from like these. I'm not naming anyone here or anything. Don't get like pissed off at me. But I'm like, how does this work? How do you not get in trouble for that?
If they've bought the license for it, they can do it.
I'm under the impression they have not.
Me too.
Right.
Especially because I know. I'm thinking of some of the things that I know
about Disney-owned things.
Disney will not let
Disney
you buy a
not got-
license.
no.
They don't let you buy
No.
a license. Excuse me. They don't. I mean, now, like we could buy a license from a zoo.
Yeah. But
We can pay like $500 for a year, and we can reproduce the Mizzou logos X
Right.
amount of times.
no, but I just don't know how this, because I believe that they sell, I would call thousands of yards of fabric like a high volume.
Yeah.
I think that's
Right.
like kind of a lot of fabric, and I just don't know.
Even though apparently we have that much here.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I just don't know how that works, and I don't think it's like. I don't think you're some terrible person if you've bought that fabric or anything, but I just wonder about the,
Well, I think, an axe
How
will
it
come
works.
down.
I don't know.
I don't know. When embroidery first started,
Yeah.
that was a big thing because people were digitizing,
Licensed and copyrighted
licensed.
things.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's okay if you do it for yourself and put it on your shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, but you cannot make a profit. You cannot give it away. You
Right.
cannot take it any farther than yourself.
Yeah.
And I know some people that got in trouble.
Yeah, and so
and
I anyway, this might be getting a little off.
Right, it is a little off. Tangent.
Tangents. Okay,
We're on the tangent bus.
there are Facebook groups where that is kind of like how they are selling that custom printed
Right, because
fabric.
it's some cartoon character
Right.
that someone desires.
Somebody posted in the group, there was fabric and it was the F word over and over again, but it was
Right.
really small and in pinstripes. So that was like funny for people, to
Right.
buy and wear. And then sometimes with these, with these custom printing, it can just be like that you're getting a very unique design.
Right.
And then sometimes in these Facebook groups, like we sell power mesh. We get this from a textile company,
Right.
and we do have to buy like 25 yards
Yes,
at a
we
time.
buy
right?
lots, let me tell you.
And so there
Yeah.
are some Facebook groups or some websites where someone will say, "Hey, I'm going to give this to you at a pretty
Right.
deep discount if we can get a pre-order going."
Right.
Or I will provide this, or something like that. And so that's another way. So when you're doing this pre-order stuff, and things like that, just really read the rules.
Yeah, and that is really something to be cautioned. I mean,
Or you don't want to get disappointed.
Right.
So read the rules, because I know that a lot of these places have pretty good reputations.
Right.
Like they deliver on their fabric. Read the rules, but maybe do go with one where you can maybe go in the self-sewn wardrobe group and say, "Hey, have you ordered
right.
from this
And you
place
will see that
before?"
often in our group.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking about, ordering from,
So and so.
yeah. so and so fabric.
Oh, I'm sure that
Ha-ha.
there is actually a place like
There
that.
probably is.
Uh,
And, somebody will say, "Oh yeah, I've ordered from there," or "I ordered from there, but it took a long time," or so they will truly give you their comments, their feedback.
And I think it's kind of funny because I ordered some fabric one time, that Nannerpuss fabric.
Yep.
It's a banana
That looks like
octopus.
an octopus.
And then I ordered some shark tooth fabric.
Right.
And it's from a Facebook page. And the price on it was not super special. Like, wasn't really cheap or anything like that. It was really cute.
Yeah.
And it wasn't custom printed. I don't know. She is like buying this fabric and reselling it. And it's just, I guess, a way that people like to access this. Like, people are shopping on Facebook.
Right.
Like versus I would go, like, I've known about Spandex House or House of Spandex.
We knew about Spandex House when no one else. Well, it wasn't online when we first knew about it.
That's right. That's right.
In fact, I was such a good customer. They would just send me like these sample packs, like twice a year. We've got this now. They're of course huge, and they're in New York. So most of these big providers like that will be on the coast.
Well, now Spandex House and Denver Fabrics and Fashion Fabrics, they're all the same now. Do you know that?
Oh,
they're all the same company.
They've all,
yes,
oh,
I
wow.
believe. I'm 99% certain on all that. So that's all the same. So a lot of these places have consolidated, but there is kind of a
But what I'm saying is most of them are on the coast because that's where the fabric comes from.
Right.
It's being shipped in.
Right. So it is kind of a brave new world out there of fabric shopping and of different business models and
now,
things like that.
I have a funny question here. It's something that happened to us, and you don't have to mention the name of the company. I don't think maybe you will, but we had this fabric you ordered, and because they wanted, and they print this fabric, right? Mm-hmm. And it smells funny.
Yeah.
It smells kind of like the ink or something.
Yeah,
and we have washed it and washed it in many things, vinegar. We cannot, we have let it hang, and it's this beautiful fabric. I love the hand of it.
Yeah.
I love the way it looks, and it has a funny smell.
It does have a funny smell.
So stuff can happen.
Yep, sometimes stuff happens like that, And so yeah, I mean, if you're looking into, buying and selling fabrics, like if you're looking into, becoming a retailer or something like that, I don't know if we ever want to do an episode about that, but it's kind of a pain. It's a lot of physical labor.
Oh, man. Yeah.
But when you're buying those fabrics online, the consumer is getting closer and closer to the main manufacturer. I made my sheer shirt dress out of that embroidered,
mesh,
mesh, like netting stuff, right? And we were at Baby Lock, and somebody said, "Oh, well," actually they said, "I don't mean to offend you, but did you get that at Joann's?" I was like, "No, I didn't get this at Joann's, but I'm pretty sure I got it from, the
same
Chinese
place Joann's
factory
does.
that Joann's got it from because I found it on Amazon."
Right.
And so I found it on Amazon, and it took 6 weeks to get here, or something.
And I want to ask you about Amazon because I have never ordered fabric on Amazon.
Okay.
But I have shopped for fabric on Amazon, and I always get scared.
Yeah.
Because
it's weird.
The way they describe it, I'm like, they don't know anything about fabric.
It might not be that they don't know anything about fabric, but they don't know how to write about it in English.
Or it's a second language. Exactly.
Yes, because...
And I'm like, you haven't told me anything here.
No, I really, I thought about contacting some of those companies and being like,
I can write your description.
Do you want some help? Because I would imagine these people do know something about textiles because they're producing them, but it's not coming across all the time. And, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe a lot of people just order because they like the way it looks and it works, But my embroidered mesh definitely was described in a very odd way.
Hadn't you seen it somewhere too?
Yeah, I saw it at Joann's.
Oh, okay.
In the beige color.
Right.
So I ordered that from Amazon, right?
Yeah.
Now, fabric.com, okay, they're now owned by Amazon. And
of course.
So, Amazon's getting into the fabric business, but then there are other sellers
on
Amazon.
Are we surprised?
No. So you are taking a bit of a risk there sometimes with some sellers, just like if you were buying anything else,
like there are sites that I particularly like, and one of them happens to be Josie's, LA Finch, where she describes the fabric, and then she also says this would be good for a blouse, for pajamas, like that. And you don't get that from every site.
And that's something that, this is what a brand is. Okay, a brand should be, a company that has put resources into support.
Yes.
Okay, that's what a brand is. So, why do you want to buy something on brand versus off brand, or,
Right.
think about just in your buying habits, where
Right.
you're comfortable taking the risk and where you're not.
Right.
You-
Like I
just-
said, Amazon sort of scares me.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
that can be off-putting. So that is, and I just think about different parts of my life where I've been like, oh, fine, I'm not going to worry about that. And then other
Right.
parts where I'm like, no, I'm going to make sure that this gets support.
Yeah, I know I want this
Right.
like this, whatever. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So
or that's too much money for me to risk.
yes, I don't have the, what is it called? Risk tolerance.
Yeah.
For that. So anyway, when I saw this fabric, I thought, oh, that's the same stuff that's at Joann's. Just
Right.
the factory is
Well,
willing to.
sometimes you know it. It's just like, yes, it looks exactly the same. It's
Right,
it. Yes.
right, and it was, and it was fine fabric. So anyway, you can buy fabric like that, but when you are looking to get, a lot of support,
Right.
and you're new and stuff like that,
Right.
that can be important. And this I saw this fabric on another website too, and it was more expensive than not only Amazon but also Joann's. And I was like, okay, and I would never, like as a human being, be like, that company is charging too much, for this fabric. I had to
Right.
wait 6 weeks,
That's right.
for this fabric. I had to do a lot of stuff.
If you wanted it bad right now, it would have been worth it.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, I would never say that. But
Or if
there
you
are
would have been making
reasons.
that dress and ran out, you would have ordered some from that company
Yeah,
and
that's
got it right
right.
away.
And you know
Right.
why? And they were storing it in a warehouse where they had to pay rent and
That's
stuff
right.
like that.
That's
so,
right.
So yeah, did we answer any kind of question
Does
on this?
anybody have any
podcast?
questions about buying? Well, I think what it is you almost have to build your faith in these companies.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you just do. And like I said, when I see that on Amazon and it's not what did I see? And I was like, oh, they don't.
It's not being described
This is
accurately.
way
Yeah.
wrong.
Mhm.
This is not what this is. This is not this.
Uh-huh.
This is really bad, and somebody might get this. Now, I think a lot of people also buy fabric on Amazon to like throw over a table as
Yeah.
a tablecloth for a wedding.
I
So
agree.
who cares?
Yes.
So who cares how much it stretches or if it launders? You're never going to use it again.
There was some fabric on Amazon. Okay, well, here's the other thing about this fabric, that black, embroidered mesh. I couldn't find it again.
Yeah.
It was described in such a way that, like, what I wanted to call it was not bringing it up.
right.
And I couldn't find it. Okay, so then I found it again. And I was finding all this silk. There was, like, just these, printed, like, silk satins. And I was like, well, I guess this is actually silk, because it says 100% silk. And there were some reviews that said, this is great, and the colors are beautiful. I was like, oh, okay, because once again, the description, I think, was written by someone, for whom English was not their first language.
Right.
And it was, not great. But on Amazon, a lot of those companies, if you type in silk, you'll get things that say like silky feel.
Right. You get the whole
and
thing.
I'm
Yes.
like, I don't like
Yes.
don't tell me that this has a silky. I mean, it's fine. It's just
Oh, I know
wanted-
something I would like to say.
Okay, say it. Mic's on.
TRICOT is not tricot.
Uh-huh.
It's trico.
Trico. There
Just
you go.
so everybody knows. And where I hear this is from my aerialist friends. Oh, they have the tricot. And I'm like, and somehow I like, it's not tricot, everybody. It's trico.
Well, if someone says a word and they mispronounce it,
Mhm.
you can maybe bet that they learned it by reading it. They didn't have someone in their life, to say it, to them. And so,
well, I'll wait and then later go, well, when you buy trico.
yeah. Correcting someone on their pronunciation is something that's difficult to do without sounding like an asshole.
Especially if you don't know them really well.
Oh, sure.
Like, somebody that's not how you say that. Don't look like a fool.
Yeah.
But well, they're all, telling you how much they know about it.
How about
the
word quinoa?
Quinoa?
Yeah.
Quinoa?
Yeah,
Quinoa.
shoot. That word.
Quinoa. Yeah, who spelled that? Anyway, what language is that?
Some lovely Peruvian people,
Oh,
I
okay.
believe,
Yeah. That's quinoa. Well, I even today, when I made that mustacholi, you might not know what mustacholi is if you're not from Midwest, like Italian.
You're probably saying
family.
it wrong. You've probably been saying it wrong for 60
Well, they
years
do say
or-
like mustacholi, I
Yeah.
think, and I say mustacholi. But I was like, how many C's are in it? Because like,
Yeah.
and I's. I was like really worried, and I was like, I don't even know if I can spell it well enough to Google it. And I spelled it right, but but I was just like, I haven't spelled it in a while, because I'm such a nice mother, I had texted Mallory and said I made a buttload of mastacholi, I think is how it was.
So,
would you like some for your dinner tonight?
And those words that we use in fabric land,
right?
Well, someone just asked. I think Noah just asked in the group, "What's the difference between tricot and duoplex?" And it's like and it's great to be able to ask such a wide community about that.
Yes.
And sourcing fabrics too, for what you want. Knowing your purpose is really a good idea, because I was thinking about this earlier. Noah is doing a lot of work on like binders and things like that. And
when she says binders, she means like binding down someone's chest.
That's
not
right.
like a binder like you put paper in.
Good, not a trapper keeper,
right.
So yeah, I mean a binder that is used to minimize breast tissue, and oftentimes this is used in the trans community. And Noah's working on developing his pattern and developing like a drafting tutorial and things like that.
And truly what fabrics should be used and are the best.
What's the best for the goals that you want to achieve.
The effect you want, right.
And we're, in this case, Noah's talking about compression, but also breathability, and also, all this stuff. It's been quite the research. And the fabric, it probably exists, but it's not been, I think that he was finding girdle fabric was good. Okay, well, it's being called girdle fabric.
Is it?
It's not being called.
But is it being called girdle fabric?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
because
not being
sometimes
called binder fabric.
There is power mesh that is girdle fabric.
Well,
that's true.
There is a site, I think, that sells this, and it calls it, they call it girdle fabric because it's a real thick.
Yeah, it is. It's heavy.
Mesh, yeah. So anyway, we end up, the words have been used based on.
So the description may change on how the fabric starts to be used. Sure. Right. How, its new purpose.
Yeah. What was swimwear made out of 40 years ago?
Well,
and
cotton.
What is it made out of today? Cotton, so that's a great.
My first bikinis were cotton fabric. It could have been made out of.
Did you buy your fabric
cotton.
online?
Quilting.
No.
Online.
No.
The only computers I knew about were ones that were housed in big buildings over at McDonnell Douglas, and they were using what they called key punch cards.
Yep.
So there was a binary punch card for everything.
And do you know that knitting has something to do with early coding?
Oh, because of the
knit
patterns.
And purl and the patterns. Yeah, I'll have to link to that article. There was a woman who knitted. The title of the article,
the code.
It's knitting your way to the moon, Yeah, it's literally what it's called. Okay, well, I hope that here, this is just a conversation starter, right?
And I really, if anybody has
online.
Any good pointers, put them in the comments on this or something. I do believe you have to kind of feel your own way, because everybody's fabric needs are different.
Yeah.
And as soon as you find a source, another one may pop up.
Right.
So, don't limit yourself to, I found these 3 places I'm comfortable at, if you're still looking for something else.
And I really do, I think we've talked about the big ones, we talked about the small ones, and I think that people are sort of fighting for your business, which is lovely. And Josie will listen, and she'll be like, "Oh, you want more French terry, or you want more of
well,
this?"
And I think to people who sew, who like the tangible feel of fabric, there's nothing like walking through a store.
Mm-mm.
But that can also take a lot of time. Right. And for many of us now, it takes a distance.
Right.
Which adds to the time. But, if you get to a place that has fabric. Well, Franny was in New York.
Franny was
it talked about how she was so tired walking through the fabric store. Poor her. And then she got on the plane and had to take fabric out of her bag. It was overweight and all this. It was pretty funny. But she bought up some stuff and brought it home. While she was there, she made they call it making hay while the sun shines.
Yes. Got it while she was there. No, I think we should probably just take a trip to New York and LA, once a year.
Once a year. Do your thing.
Buy a
Because
bunch of
we
fabric
need more
we don't
fabric.
Need. Yeah, exactly.
We need more fabric.
Well, I think that by the time this podcast comes out, we will have revealed the 63 bolts that we have.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just the bolts,
That's
right?
just the bolts.
You know, not the other fabric. That
Well, actually, there are more bolts over there that we didn't count. We were talking just about the bolt corner because there's all these bolts over here.
What are you
The
talking
flat bolts.
about?
The flat
Oh, yeah,
bolts.
no, I was just talking about the corner bolts.
Yeah,
The bolts
yeah.
on the corner. Okay. Well, thank you all for listening. You can find us online at ZD Sewing Studio. Rate us in your favorite podcast player, especially if you listen in Apple Podcasts. Rating and reviewing us is very helpful, and it just takes a few seconds of your time. They might be a little frustrating, but it just takes a few seconds of your time to do that.
Sure.
It's very
just
helpful.
get frustrated and spend your time there.
Just a little bit, okay? Just a little bit of frustration, but that's really helpful to us. And take it away, Mom.
So long and so happy.
Thanks for listening to Sewing Out Loud. For even more expert sewing advice, visit sewhere.com.